When we think of angels, many imagine ethereal beings with white wings and an aura of peace. But what if I told you that the truth about these beings is much more complex? They are messengers, yes, but also guardians of secrets that could change everything we know about the end of times. Have you ever stopped to consider the role these celestial beings play in the apocalypse? How do they interact with humans? And more importantly, how can their actions affect our destiny? Imagine a scenario where heaven and earth collide, where angels are not just protectors, but also judges. What happens when these glorious beings become part of an epic battle between good and evil? And what if I told you there are hidden messages in the scriptures revealing a divine plan far beyond our understanding? Get ready to dive into a narrative that will challenge you to rethink everything you believe about angels and the apocalypse. With each revelation, a new layer of mystery unfolds. Stay with me, for the truth is about to be revealed. When I think of angels, the first thing that comes to mind is the variety of forms and purposes they assume in different religious traditions. They are not merely ethereal figures with white wings. Each tradition offers a unique interpretation. For instance, in the Christian tradition, we have the angelic hierarchy, which includes angels like seraphim and cherubim, each with distinct functions. In contrast, in Islam, angels are often viewed as servants of God, lacking free will, dedicated to fulfilling divine orders. This diversity makes me reflect on what it truly means to be an angel, and how their functions intertwine with humanity's destiny. Speaking of functions, we cannot ignore the role of angels in apocalyptic moments. They are often the bearers of crucial messages, announcing significant events that shape the future. In various traditions, angels are responsible for guiding humanity in times of crisis. The way they manifest and interact with the world is a testament to their importance as intermediaries between the divine and the human. Thinking about this makes me feel that even in dark times, there is a greater force looking out for us. Another fascinating aspect is how the categories of angels reflect their assignments. Each angel has a specific task, which becomes even more evident in the apocalyptic context. They do not merely observe, they act, interceding on behalf of humanity, or in some narratives, executing divine justice. This duality of protection and judgment is an intriguing characteristic that makes me question how these entities can be so close to us, even when they seem so distant. The presence of angels in sacred texts invites reflection. They appear at decisive moments, and their actions often have profound repercussions. This symbiotic relationship between angels and apocalyptic events shows that their nature is not just ethereal, but deeply rooted in themes of justice, love, and redemption. I believe that by understanding these nuances, we can start to perceive how these beings influence our lives, even if in an imperceptible way. Ultimately, the diversity of angelic categories and their functions invites us to explore more deeply what it means to be a messenger of the divine. The nature of angels is complex and multifaceted, reflecting the richness of the religious traditions that surround them. This exploration inspires me to seek a deeper connection with these beings and understand how they can indeed impact our lives and the trajectory of humanity. When we begin to examine apocalyptic prophecies, the presence of angels becomes almost tangible. Sacred texts such as the Bible and the Quran frequently mention these beings in contexts that herald cataclysmic events. They are not there merely to be decorative figures. Their messages and actions hold a profound purpose. Each prophecy carries a warning, an alert about what is to come, and angels play a fundamental role in this narrative. The Book of Revelation, for example, is filled with references to angels who announce and execute divine judgments. This narrative brings to life the idea that angels are not just passive observers, but active agents who help shape humanity's destiny. As I read these prophecies, I cannot help but feel a certain awe and reverence for the magnitude of what is being described. It's as if angels are the voices of a future that lies beyond our understanding. Moreover, the interpretation of these prophecies can vary greatly from one tradition to another. Some view angels as signifiers of hope, while others see them as executors of severe justice. This duality is fascinating and makes me ponder how human perception can influence the way we approach the future. The idea that angels are involved in revealing what is to come offers us a unique perspective on the relationship between the human and the divine. What What impresses me even more is how these prophecies remain relevant today. Many people seek to understand the signs of the times and the messages that may be conveyed through angels. This desire for connection with the divine in moments of uncertainty resonates deeply within me. Thus, apocalyptic prophecies are not just ancient accounts. They reflect our contemporary anxieties and hopes. In conclusion, reflecting on apocalyptic prophecies leads me on a journey of self-discovery and spirituality. Angels, with their messages and warnings, challenge us to look ahead and consider how our actions can shape the future. The quest to understand these prophecies is, in fact, a quest for meaning in a world that is often chaotic and unpredictable. The role of angels as messengers is one of the most intriguing facets of this theme. When I think of them, I imagine beings that cross the line between the divine and the human, delivering messages that could change the course of our lives. In critical moments, these figures appear to guide, alert, or comfort us. This idea that they are always ready to intercede on our behalf is, for me, a tremendous source of solace. In the scriptures, we find accounts of angels appearing in times of desperate need. Think of Gabriel's visits to Mary, or the appearances that comforted the prophets in times of crisis. These messages are not just words, they are calls to action, invitations to a journey of faith and transformation. This makes me reflect on how in our own lives we might receive guidance that leads us to make significant decisions. Moreover, the ability of angels to communicate with humanity during times of crisis is a characteristic that should not be underestimated. They remind us that we are not alone, even when life seems chaotic. This connection can manifest in various forms through dreams, visions, or even unexpected encounters. This idea leads me to think about how we can be more attentive to the messages that surround us. What fascinates me is that these messengers not only bring warnings but also hope. In apocalyptic times, angels become symbols of a better future, a possibility of redemption. This duality between warning and hope is a delicate dance that invites us to reflect on the nature of our own spirituality. It is a reminder that even in the darkest situations, there is always a light that can guide us. Ultimately, the role of angels as messengers inspires me to be more receptive to the messages that life offers me. Each experience, each interaction, and each challenge can be seen as a form of divine communication. This perspective helps me cultivate an open mind and a heart willing to listen, reminding us that, in the end, we are all connected by a greater purpose. When I think about the book of Revelation, what stands out to me the most are the powerful images that angels represent. They are not just winged beings floating on clouds, they are symbols of hope and judgment. Each angel has a specific role, and their presence is surrounded by mystery and meaning. For instance, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, often associated with angels, symbolize conquest, war, famine, and death. This representation forces us to confront the dark realities that may arise at the end of times. Furthermore, John's vision on Patmos brings the idea that angels are messengers announcing cataclysmic events. They sound trumpets and bring plagues, but they also carry messages of salvation. This duality is fascinating. Angels are agents of chaos and redemption. They show us that, even amid despair, there is always a possibility for transformation and renewal. The interpretation of these symbols helps us understand that the apocalypse is not just a narrative of destruction, but also a promise of restoration. Another interesting aspect is how angelic symbols connect us to a broader perspective on the struggle between good and evil. The figure of the angel, with its ability to intercede and protect, reminds us that we are not alone in our battles. The angels in Revelation represent humanity's struggle for justice and truth, even when everything seems lost. This vision encourages us to maintain faith and hope, even in the face of adversity. The presence of angels also reminds us of the importance of vigilance and preparation. Each angelic symbol serves as an alert for us to be attentive to the signs of the times. They invite us to question our actions and reflect on how we are living our lives. The apocalypse, then, becomes not just a prediction of the future, but a call to responsibility in the present. The symbolism of angels teaches us that, even in the most difficult situations, we can be instruments of change. Finally, the interpretation of angelic symbols in Revelation transcends religious and cultural boundaries. They have a universal appeal, resonating across various traditions and beliefs. The image of the angel as protector and guide is something many can identify with, regardless of their religious background. This leads us to a deeper reflection on our relationship with the divine and what angels represent in our own lives. When we talk about angels and the battle between good and evil, I can't help but think of the figure of the Archangel Michael. He is often portrayed as the leader of the heavenly host, fighting against evil forces. This image is powerful and makes us reflect on the constant struggle that each of us faces in our lives. The battle that Michael wages is symbolic, representing the internal struggle each of us encounters between light and darkness. The presence of angels in apocalyptic narratives provides a sense that, despite difficulties, there is a greater force protecting us. They are like warriors interceding on our behalf, battling against the forces that seek to lead us astray from the path of good. This struggle is often invisible, but apocalyptic accounts remind us that it is happening. This vision encourages us to remain steadfast in our values and resist the temptations that surround us. Moreover, the representation of angels in this battle shows us that we are not alone. When we feel defeated or helpless, we can remember that there is a legion of celestial beings by our side. This idea can be comforting as it gives us a sense of hope, even in the darkest situations. Angels inspire us to act with courage and to fight for what we believe is right. The battle between good and evil also leads us to reflect on the consequences of our choices. Angels are not just passive figures, they are active in the struggle for a better world. This invites us to question what we are doing in our own lives to promote good. The battle is not only external but also internal. We need to be aware of our own demons and the battles we fight in our hearts. Ultimately, the representation of angels in the battle between good and evil reminds us that victory is not guaranteed, but is a continuous struggle. Every action we take, every choice we make, contributes to this greater battle. Angels inspire us to be warriors of light, fighting for justice and compassion. This struggle is an essential part of our spiritual journey and motivates us to seek a more harmonious and just world. We live in an era where celestial figures like angels are being reinterpreted and redefined in ways that many of us may not have imagined. In media, for instance, angels are often depicted as protective beings who guide us in times of crisis. They appear in television series, movies, and books, where their characteristics are shaped by popular imagination. This humanization of angels makes them more accessible, almost like friends who are always ready to help us in life's difficulties. In contemporary literature, angels have gained prominence in narratives exploring themes of love, redemption, and transformation. Authors have utilized these celestial figures to symbolize hope and faith in difficult times. Often, these stories weave elements of fantasy and spirituality, allowing readers to emotionally connect with the idea that there is something greater protecting and guiding us, even amidst chaos. This new perspective on angels also reflects a desire for comfort and security in an increasingly uncertain world. Popular spirituality also plays a role in this new context. Many people seek a connection with angels as a means of finding inner peace and clarity in their lives. Meditation groups and spiritual practices frequently reference these beings as guides, encouraging individuals to invoke their presence for protection and guidance. This contemporary approach to angels is not confined to a single religious tradition. Rather, it is a blend of various beliefs and practices intertwined, creating a mosaic of spirituality accessible to all. Furthermore, interpretations of angels in the context of the apocalypse become a powerful tool for reflection on the human condition. In times of crisis, many ponder what truly matters and how we can prepare for the unknown. Angels, in this sense, become symbols of hope and transformation, reminding us that even in the worst adversities, we can find light and direction. This search for meaning and protection amid the apocalypse resonates deeply with the human experience and is a theme that continues to be explored. Ultimately, contemporary interpretations of angels reflect our need for understanding in a world filled with uncertainties. By reinterpreting these figures, we are invited to consider what they mean to us today. Through art, literature, and spirituality, angels become representatives of a greater message, encouraging us to seek the light, even when everything around us seems dark. When we discuss spiritual and moral preparation for challenging times, it's impossible not to think about the importance of being in tune with the sacred. The figure of angels, with its connotation of protection and divine communication, serves as a constant reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. This preparation begins with an internal search for purpose and a deeper understanding of life and our mission here. Many religious and spiritual traditions emphasize the need to cultivate a connection with the divine, which can be seen as an essential step in dealing with the challenges of the apocalypse. Teachings about angels and the apocalypse prompt us to reflect on our actions and choices. In moments of uncertainty, we question our morality and the ethics we adhere to. Angels, often viewed as judges and messengers of God, remind us of the importance of living with integrity and justice. They invite us to consider how our actions impact not only our lives, but also the lives of others. This moral reflection becomes even more crucial in times of crisis, when what is at stake is humanity itself. Effective spiritual preparation also involves practices that connect us with the sacred. Meditation, prayer, and contemplation are ways to open our hearts and minds to what angels and other spiritual entities may offer us. These practices help us develop internal resilience, allowing us to face difficulties with more courage and clarity. With a solid spiritual foundation, we become better equipped to navigate challenges and find meaning amidst chaos. Faith plays a central role in this preparation process. The belief that something greater is at work gives us hope and motivates us to persevere even when everything seems lost. Angels, as messengers of hope and protection, encourage us to maintain our faith, reminding us that even in the most desperate situations, there is always room for light and transformation. Spirituality becomes an anchor that sustains us in turbulent times. Lastly, spiritual and moral preparation is not just an individual task, it is also a collective responsibility. In times of crisis, community becomes a pillar of support. When we unite in faith and action, we can overcome even the toughest challenges. Angels, in this sense, symbolize unity and solidarity, reminding us that together we are stronger. This preparation, both individual and collective, is essential for facing the difficult times that may lie ahead. So everyone, now that we've explored the hidden truth about angels and the apocalypse, I want you to pause and think, what does this mean for your life? These ethereal beings, so present in biblical stories, how can they influence our daily lives? Have you ever wondered if there's an angel by your side, guiding your decisions or protecting you in tough times? And what about the apocalypse? It's not just a distant event, but a reality that invites us to reflect on our actions and choices. How would you prepare if you knew the end was closer than we imagine? Let's uncover more mysteries of the Bible together and understand how these ancient stories still resonate in our modern world. I want to hear your thoughts on angels. Do you believe they are among us? Share your comments, tell me your experiences, and don't forget to give a like if you enjoyed this journey. Let's keep this conversation going and explore together. More truths hidden within the sacred pages. Until next time, and remember, the search for truth never ends.